I am so glad that you could be here today. I have arrived here with a warm glass of herbal tea, wearing my most comfortable hoodie, so we can talk about some rather uncomfortable subjects. In this case, that being climate change. And here's the funny thing, I'm gonna talk to you about climate change without once referencing a statistic, fact, or chart. Because let's be honest here, I could tell you all the information in the world. I could put 6 charts on screen right now, and then you could go online, go to the third page of Google, and find 6 other charts, or 6 other statistics. It doesn't really matter. And I think we've gotten to the point where the two sides of the climate debate, which shouldn't really be a debate anymore, just endlessly throwing facts and figures at one another is just not helpful anymore. So I want to take a different route. Let's do, as the name suggests, some cozy reflection. And let's talk about what climate change means to each of us, whether we believe climate change is not real, or we believe that it is real. And I'm gonna tell you off the bat, this is not an opinion. Climate change is real, and we really can't afford to not treat it that way anymore. The effects we're having on the environment is something that we need to be willing to talk about. And to go into my first observation when I was reflecting on what I think about climate change, the first big thing is just that oversaturation of information. Going in both directions. It's like you can find 30 facts and figures going one direction, 30 facts and figures going the other direction. There's just so much of it, and it just overwhelms you when you try to actually even learn about the subject. Even if, no matter what side you're on, just trying to learn more about the facts in general about climate change, you just get bombarded on every side with just all this information. It's just too much, and it makes you just not want to be a part of it. It makes you not want to take part in a really important conversation when you just get all this info just thrown at you the moment you try to look up anything. But that's just issue one of many, so let's continue. This is going to be a bit of an odd one, because at first I put the fact that I've lived through a lot of ecological disasters, and I'm not that old. The first big one I have is Katrina, and just the fact that hurricanes have become a yearly thing. I remember back when I was young, and again, I'm only 28, and I remember when I was young, hurricanes were in every other year, maybe, and whatever, you kind of, you have your house on stilts, you don't really worry about it in Florida. But now, it's constant. I can't even turn on the news without hearing something about a hurricane. Which is an odd inverse, because I live in the Midwest, which is, if you didn't know, Tornado Alley. But we haven't gotten any tornadoes the last couple of years. We had one kind of cyclone a couple years ago. Maybe last year, and it was a big deal. The weather here has been really, really weird in America. The next thing I had was invasive species, and this ended up taking up half the page, and there's just ones off the top of my head. I was gonna do invasive species as a Florida issue, but then I was okay, so now we have to do but it's the entire southern United States, but then oh no, it's the entire United States, because in Florida you have the pythons and the iguanas and tons of reptiles that are invasive down there. You have wild hogs that got out of pig farms, they're running all over the southern United States. Asian carp all over the Mississippi. House cats, both domestic and feral, running all over Hawaii and Florida, killing birds, and probably more places than that. Kudzu, it's a big issue. Exotic pet fish clogging all the rivers and tributaries, especially in warmer climates. Amazon river fish that people get as pets, and then they get too big, so they just dump them in a river somewhere, and they're all over the place. Oh my God, the Canadian wildfires, I don't even remember that. That was just a couple of months ago too. The entire Midwest got just covered in smoke. And again, no facts or figures. I saw this outside my window. I think I commented on it in a video when it was happening, actually. Smoke everywhere coming out of Canada, covering half the United States. It was insanity. And that was just 2 months ago. Oh God, it's so bad. God, that's so bad. Let's keep going. Yeah, I guess I want to go back to the fact that we haven't had as many tornadoes, and our winters have been really, really mild here. And the general reaction of people living here has been concerned and worried about it, but not enough to do anything, which we should change because it's bad. The milder winters is leading to increases in things like bugs, lots of mosquitoes, hornets, everywhere. Again, I genuinely think people here are concerned about it, but we don't really know what to do about it? Which I guess is going to be the next video, figuring out what we can do about this. Let's see what we get. Oh my god. All right. So like, I also wanted to put in some important historical moments in terms of my relationship to climate change and how it's been shaped. And the biggest one I had to put was the throwing of the snowball.
I asked the chair, you know what this is? It's a snowball. And that's just from outside here. So it's very, very cold out, very unseasonal. So here, Mr. President, catch this.
I was shocked to find out that only happened in 2014. I actually thought it was way earlier than that. In 2014, it's not even a decade ago. I remember even Republicans at the time being like, yeah, this is really dumb, but also we're not gonna do anything. And I mean, it's not like liberals did anything either, but it's just, this is sad. This is pathetic. In one of the most important issues affecting us, that like this could happen at all is horribly sad. But like I said, an important moment in what shaped my view on climate change. Yeah, I think that's also just sort of got to be noted is people voting against climate change just to spite the Democrats for being nerds was a general vibe that we got. I think it started in the Bush era and then followed along afterward, and seems to be on the decline, but is still very much there in Republican circles here. Like, Champaign being a college town means that you have a lot of Republicans, you have a lot of Democrats kind of living near one another, but not necessarily interacting. Whenever I'm on the Republican half of the town, it usually feels like that. There's still this general vibe of like, I don't believe in climate change because fuck them Democrats. And it's like, we got to get past that. I don't like the liberals are any better. I mean, they're over here like, I believe in climate change. That's why instead of buying a gas-guzzling SUV, I bought an energy-guzzling Tesla SUV. Like, y'all fucking dipshits. You don't know what you're talking about. Like, everyone's bad at this. No one's off the hook for this. Oh my god. Oh, this had to be a section all on its own. Abandoned parking lots. My god. Like, Champaign, again, being a college town means that the population kind of goes all over the place because, you know, students come and they go. But the population is never more than like 200,000. And yet I can off the top of my head think of at least 3 just like abandoned or nearly abandoned shopping districts in this town. Not shopping centers, like shopping districts. Rows and rows of shops just empty. And square mile after mile of just empty parking lot that no one uses. This is all over the town, like all over the place. And every time a new big fancy business comes in, they always want to build their own brand new building. And like these other ones just get left to rot. And even a lot of the shopping centers we have now, the big shopping districts are like kind of on the decline. It's not looking good. It's just really sad, especially when so much of the town is built on wetlands, which means we have to spend money to not let the city flood, even though a lot of the natural wetland that could have taken care of that for free and provided a home for local species has been paved over for parking that no one now uses because these districts are just abandoned. It's just sad. But even then, you know, you got to think like, what do you actually do with them? You could try to force businesses to use them, but do you really want to put that expense on them when it's not their fault? And you could tear out these old parking lots, but that's a lot of time, that's a lot of money. And where would you even put all this concrete? Like, you can't just break it up. It's got to go somewhere. You got to take it somewhere. It's not an easy question, but like whatever we're doing now is not working. That much we can agree on. Well, I certainly hope this was cozy enough for you. That is all I have on my list, but I want to take some time to highly, highly, highly encourage you to make your own list. Take 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, please, and just write down what climate change means to you. What are the big influences historically that are affecting how you look at climate change? What are things that your town is doing that's good or not good? Like I said, I don't want this to be anything more than what it is. This is one guy taking some notes on how I feel about an important issue. That's all it is. It doesn't have to be more than that. But what I think will really help is if a lot of one guys, a lot of us, if a lot of people take the time and really reflect, then I think we can really get somewhere in this debate that should not be a debate. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed it. I really, really do hope that you'll take the time to make your own list. I want to see some down in the comments section, and I'll see you guys in the next one.